This is the AEW Dynasty 2025 full show results video, which takes place at Liacouras Center in Philadelphia. The show started with a match between AR Fox and Top Flight vs. Crew and Nick Wayne, and the result of this match was Crew and Nick Wayne won the match when Darius hits standing Spanish Fly and the match breaks down into everybody do something cool territory. Kip Sabian running interference and Layla Gray evens the score, then Mother Wayne get involved, which allowed Nick Wayne to hit AR Fox with Wayne's World to score the pinfall victory for his team. Max Caster then makes his way down to the ring for his open challenge. Caster grabs a mic and says there has been a lot of names being brought up for this challenge, but the Maximaniacs know there is only one chant the fans want to say. The "Let's go Max, you're the best wrestler alive" chants then gets going, but Caster says they weren't doing it right. Caster then tells the fans to show up for him just like they have for other great Philadelphia athletes, revealing a Ben Simmons jersey. Caster then says the Philly fans aren't as great as the New York ones. The lights then go out and a new theme music and video hits that read 5-tool player. Anthony Bowens then makes his way down to the ring and he is joined by Billy Gunn. Then we saw a match between Anthony Bowens vs. Platinum Max Caster, and the result of this match was Anthony Bowens defeated Max Caster by pinfall with a rolling elbow. Then we saw a Owen Hart Foundation Tournament quarterfinals match between Kevin Knight vs. Will Ospreay. In the end, Kevin Knight looks to hit a second splash off the top rope, but Ospreay counters into a cutter and Knight rolls up Ospreay. Ospreay then kicks out and hits a Styles Clash on Knight. Ospreay then goes for a pin, but Knight kicks out. Ospreay then hits the OS cutter on Knight and pins him once again, but Knight kicks out and then Ospreay hits the hidden blade on Knight to win the match by pinfall. After the match, Will Ospreay and Kevin Knight shake hands and hug and Ospreay looks at the All-In Texas sign and points at it before making his exit. The next match happened between Hurt Syndicate vs. Learning Tree for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. In the end, Morrissey scoops Bobby Lashley up, Snake Eyes and a lariat to the floor. A mystery man gets involved on the floor by punching Bill in the face, Bob with a spear, and it turns out to be Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Champs back inside, Bobby and Shelton not stoked that MJF got involved, but Benjamin turns his attention to Keith. Hits German suplex, Bobby with a spear, Shelton rolls him over, and Hurt Syndicate won the match by pinfall with a one-handed press from Shelton Benjamin on Brian Keith, retaining the AEW World Tag Team Championship.
I have a huge announcement for you. If you are a fan of intense, hard-hitting action scenes that you rarely see on YouTube, then introducing our sponsor, BigScreenAction.com to you, the ultimate destination for extreme action and adrenaline-pumping fight scenes. Check out the Dark Avengers, one of the thrilling clips that you are watching right now on your screen. Big Screen pushes action and drama to the next level. If you are a true high-octane entertainment fan, this is the place where you need to be.
Back to the show, the next match happened Julia Hart vs. Mercedes in the Owen Hart Foundation Tournament quarterfinals. The match starts off with both women going back and forth. We then see Harley Cameron watching the action from backstage as Mercedes drapes Hart by her knees off the top rope and delivers some stomps on her. Hart then rolls up Mercedes, but Mercedes kicks out and Hart hits a splash on her in the corner. Hart then walks the top rope and hits an old school on Mercedes, then sends her head repeatedly bouncing off the mat. Mercedes then responds with a Meteora on Hart off the ring apron, then sends her back in the ring and goes for a pin, but Hart then kicks out. Mercedes then locks in the Statement Maker on Hart, but Hart reverses it into the Heartless. Mercedes then escapes with a roll-up, but Hart kicks out. Mercedes then lock in a second Statement Maker on Hart, but Hart rolls up Mercedes. Mercedes kicks out and pins Hart to win the match by pinfall. The next match happened between Death Riders vs. Rated FTR for the AEW World Trios Championship. The match starts off with Pac and Dax Harwood in both men lock up. Pac then rolls up Harwood, but Harwood kicks out and Pac sends him crashing into the mat. Pac then looks to cinch in the Brutalizer, but Harwood avoids it and tags in Cope. Harwood then tags in and delivers some right hands on Claudio Castagnoli with Cope and Wheeler. Wheeler then flies out of the ring to land on Castagnoli, then sends him back in the ring and climbs to the top rope. In the end, Cope follows it up with a spear and looks to hit a second one on Yuta. Yuta then leapfrogs out of the way and Cope almost hits Harwood, but stops his momentum. Yuta then hits a Buseiko knee on Harwood to win the match for his team, and Death Riders retains the AEW Trios Championship. After the match, the Death Riders leave ringside as Cope and Wheeler extend their hand to Harwood to help him up. The three then men hug and raise each other hands, but Harwood hits a piledriver on Cope. Wheeler then asks Harwood what he's doing as Harwood grabs a couple of chairs from ringside and sets Cope's head up on one. Harwood then picks up the second one and hands it to Wheeler. Wheeler then tosses it aside and shoves Harwood, then helps Cope up. FTR then hits a shatter machine on Cope, then hit an assisted piledriver on him on top of the chair. Harwood then lays Cope's head on the chair and grabs the second one, but Wheeler grabs it from him and hits 2 chair 2 on Cope. FTR then mocks Cope with a neck brace and heads up the ramp as Cope is loaded onto a stretcher. The next match happened between Megan Bayne versus Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship. The match starts off with both women locking up and then Storms hits a crossbody on Bayne off the middle rope, but Bayne hits a body slam on Storm and follows it up with a fall-away slam. Bayne then flies through the middle rope with a tope suicide dive on Luther, but Storm catches her with a tornado DDT off Luther's back and follows it up with a crossbody on Bayne off the middle rope back inside the ring. We see Ford takes a cheap shot at Storm and Bayne hits a couple of belly-to-belly suplexes on Storm. Luther then gets Ford up on his shoulders and drags her to the back and Storm delivers some right hands on Bayne in the center of the ring. Storm then cinches in a submission on Bayne, but Bayne responds with a German suplex on Storm using the bottom rope for extra leverage. Then Storm hits a suplex of her own on Bayne, then follows it up with a hip attack. Bayne then counters into a back body drop on Storm, then follows it up with a jumping clothesline and sends Storm crashing into the mat. Bayne then gets Storm up on her shoulders, but Storm escapes and counters into a roll-up to win the match by pinfall, and retain the AEW Women's World Championship. Then we saw a Owen Hart Foundation Tournament quarterfinals match between Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe, and the result of this match was Kyle Fletcher defeated Mark Briscoe when Mark hits a Death Valley driver on Fletcher, but Fletcher responds with a couple of boots on Mark, then Fletcher hits the turnbuckle brainbuster on Mark to win the match by pinfall. The next match happened between Bandito versus Chris Jericho for the ROH World Championship. We see Brian Keith makes his interference, then Gravity begins brawling with Brian Keith on the entrance ramp as Jericho grabs his bat. Jericho then cracks it over Bandito's head and hides it behind the ring steps, then pins Bandito to win the match by pinfall. After the match, the referee declares that the match will be restarted due to Jericho's cheating. Jericho then looks to pull Bandito's sister in the ring, but she hits a slap on him and then Bandito hits the 21 plex on Jericho to win the match by pinfall, and become the new Ring of Honor World Champion. The next match happened between Adam Cole versus Daniel Garcia for the AEW TNT Championship, and the result of this match was Adam Cole defeated Daniel Garcia by pinfall with the running knee, becoming the new AEW TNT Champion. After the match, Cole celebrates and offers his hand to Garcia. A dejected Garcia then pulls himself off the mat, shakes Cole's hand and points at him. Garcia then heads to the back, while Cole continues his celebration. The next match happened between Kenny Omega versus Speedball Mike Bailey versus Ricochet for the AEW International Championship, and the result of this match was Kenny Omega won the match by pinfall with an avalanche one-winged angel on Ricochet, retaining the AEW International Championship. Post-match, Kazuchika Okada makes his entrance to square up with Omega, champion to champion, but Kenny leaves the ring. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between Jon Moxley versus Shane Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship. We see Hangman Adam Page comes to the ring and gets on the apron, but before he can hit buckshot on anybody, the rest of Death Riders arrive to put boots to him. Yuta throws the Buseiku knee, but Hangman throws Claudio into it and hits Deadeye on Moxley, but the Ops are here to even the odds all the way. Strickland throws a chair at Moxley and lays him out. Pulling him into the corner, Swerve goes up top, hits Swerve Stomp, but there was no referee. The lights go out and they come back up with the Young Bucks in the ring. Swerve's wrists clutched, hits BTE trigger to Swerve, and then Jon Moxley pins Swerve to pin the match by pinfall, and retain the AEW World Championship. Buck were enjoying, Moxley stands tall with Marina Schaffer, and Hangman was disappointed. How much you would rate AEW Dynasty show? Let me know in the comments. Do not forget to subscribe the channel and thanks for watching the video.